No.
I would do the youth hostel every Wednesday night, every Sunday night. The audience warm up was the other thing that just stop, getting these high school kids in, getting these paid audience in, community college. I mean, I cut my teeth doing that. Because I had to get over to learn to public speak, and I sold T-shirts at the Seattle Supersonic games, being the waiter, because I was good at baseball, but I wasn't in that artistic world. And then I just had to force myself. Jay Leno, I listened to his book. He said, you want to get into comedy? Learn to public speak. Just talk. Then I did that cable access show. I did the public speaking. And then I went to New York. I was a tour guide at Radio City Music Hall. I barked at the Comedy Cellar. I did all these weird things. But you know what? I got to believe in myself as a stand-up comedian. And because I've done so many, I'm spread thin doing that. I think the last couple of years I really focused on my stand-up and put my energy into that. And last night or the other night following you was we had a great time, and I really appreciate that. And I like these. I'm having a great time tonight, and it's a weird world out there. It's a weird world these days, and you got to stay positive.
The clip that you just saw was from episode number 488 of The Church of What's Happening Now, and the guest was Brody Stevens. Brody was a comedian, an actor, a podcaster, and a baseball player that I got to meet in my time in Los Angeles. We weren't best of friends, we didn't hang out, but what I remember most about my time with Brody is how genuine and nice he was. We got to do podcasts together multiple times. I would see him at comedy shows. We did shows together at the Dojo of Comedy at the Sycamore Tavern. And I would just see him out in real life, out in the wild. Because the Starbucks that Brody went to almost every day was 2 blocks from my house. I would see him all the time. And every time, no matter if I was with Joey or with another comedian or just by myself, Brody remembered who I was always happy to see me, and I was always happy to see him. That when someone gives you good feelings, when you get good vibes, and you're just genuinely excited and happy that you're seeing somebody, to me, that's a good indication that that's someone you want in your life. And there's a couple reasons why I chose that video today. One, I think Brody, along with a lot of other people, but Brody in particular, didn't give himself enough credit. I think we don't give ourselves enough credit. And Brody worked. He deserved everything that he had and more. Brody moved 3,000 miles away from his friends and his family to go be a tour guide at Radio City Music Hall in New York, to bark at the Comedy Cellar. He put in the work, and he deserved everything that he had. And he was in a ton of great movies like The Hangover, Due Date. Brody was a success, and I think what is sad that Brody's no longer here is I don't know if he understood how great he had done and how funny he was and how loved he was, or still is, because the main reason why I'm doing today's video is I wanted to announce that something great happened yesterday. Tommy Godlove, a comedian in Los Angeles, and a ton of other comedians. I know Dean Del Rey was involved. Darren Carter is always at the walks. There was a group of people who kept Brody's memory alive. They do a Festival of Friendship walk every year, and Mauricio Alvarado of Rockin' Pins put Brody's picture on at Dodger Stadium last year when there was no fans in the stands, and they put a bench in the park in Reseda, the Brody Stevens Memorial Bench. And what that all culminated in yesterday is that from now on, every August 18th, for the rest of time, in the city of Los Angeles, is now known as Brody Stevens Day. If you didn't know, Brody was not only from L.A., but he was from the Valley. He was from Reseda, and most people try to hide it. When you move to L.A., people are like, oh, where do you live? Oh, Sherman Oaks, Studio City. They try to pick the nicer parts of the Valley. Brody loved all of the San Fernando Valley. He loved all of LA. Brody was one of the few people I knew from LA and was always happy about it and always proud of it and didn't try to, oh, I'm from Beverly Hills. No, you're from Reseda. And not only was he from Reseda, he said it with pride, and he loved the valley, he loved LA, he loved the Dodgers, and for the city of Los Angeles to recognize that is very special. And I'm just very happy that it happened. I wanted to give a very big shout out to Tommy and Dean and Mauricio and Darren and anyone else who was involved, because I can't think of anyone that I know or have heard of who's more deserving than Brody Stevens to have a day in his memory and to be the Brody Stevens Day officially. Every year, every August 18th, 818 is Brody Stevens Day in the city of Los Angeles, and I'm just so happy for him. He deserved it. He was so nice, so loved, and I'm sad that he's not here anymore. But with the clip you just saw, again, from 488, we had Brody on many times on the church. He had his own podcast. He was a guest on all of the big podcasts. Go check out Brody Stevens. He has a special on Amazon that he filmed at the Comedy Store. Do yourself a favor. Go check out Brody Stevens. One of my biggest regrets from my time in LA is never seeing him close out the main room. I think it was Friday night, at least there was one night a week where he would close out the main room at midnight and would just do a long, extended, 45-minute set, all improv. That was the other thing about Brody. Take being success out of it. Brody he talked a lot about being positive, but what I remember about Brody is him being fearless. Brody, no other comic live streams their shows. Brody would live stream his shows all the time. He would have clips up. There's a clip that I was looking for and I couldn't find. I don't know if you can find it. Brody at a show in an attic somewhere, a cabin, I don't know where. There were two little kids that said they liked baseball, and Brody gave them a baseball from his friend who was a coach in the Cubs organization. And Brody not only live streamed his comedy, but he would just be in the moment, which is such a hard, something that I struggle with. It's so hard. I don't know if non-comedians understand it. I don't even consider myself a comedian. I've done comedy and I do comedy. But to call myself a comedian, there's levels to it, and I think Brody was even past a lot of other people who do the same material over and over again and are so married to the result that I don't think many comedians, frankly, have the balls to do what Brody did in live streaming and being in the moment and really putting himself out there and being vulnerable. Because that's how I remember Brody, as being fearless, funny, and so nice. So I'm so happy to Brody, his mother, his sister, and everyone that loved him, that from now on, the city of Los Angeles, every August 18th is Brody Stevens Day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.